these knife for sides, and SKADE here on this map have been strong before, so this is, as people are saying, going to be an interesting matchup. Endpoint, right now at the bottom of the table, whereas SKADE towards that top, currently 3-0-1, being wins, draws, losses, and SKADE have really performed well, only really dropping a game, which was relatively close against a very strong team in and of themselves, and definitely have a lot of fragging power across the roster. It's going to be really interesting to see how they match up into this Endpoint side with the new player in Flames. Obviously, Thomas no longer here with us right now, so not going to be playing in this match. Whereas you've got kind of on the side of SKADE, I said SKADE at the start for some reason there, you've got Oxygen, who kind of joined just over in June and is still getting to grips with the team and is inconsistent at times, has been very frag heavy, and at times has been, well, not showing up anywhere enough. Whether he shows up, I feel, is going to be a big part of this match here, as everything seems to be going according to plan for SKADE. As to take out Crucial early on, but a good trade back there does lead to something as Flames just pops onto the site. The newcomer for Endpoint making his mark early on in this map as he gets tapped on through and takes Rainwaker right off the board. This is a fantastic start for Endpoint and exactly where they want to be. Get this advantage early and do not let go of it. SKADE are not a team you can disrespect. And Flames is on a 4K right now. He's looking for the ace, but does not quite get it. Denny Slaw will finish him off. But Denny Slaw, unlikely to be able to find this 3K to finish off the round, especially with Surreal covering it. And well, Flames are starting off this game on fire. That is not how I expected to see things start off here, and that is great to see. Lovely voice, Mr. Okay, I'm just making sure that the sound isn't too high in any way. Ask me if you want to. Get caught up on that. Just checking on chat. Oh, yeah. As I said before, that was an unexpected start. SKADE are a very strong team in Endpoint right now at the bottom of the leaderboards, but this could be their comeback match. I don't want to get too excited early on, but that was a fantastic 4K from Flames to start things off. And now, with the AK in hand and Surreal also doing the same thing, this should be a round which they very much take. They're against Deagles and Scouts, so things can go wrong. You just have to play very diligently, not get caught out in a lot of these situations that are otherwise, well, very deadly as you hear those shots starting to ring out towards ramps there. Spellin, right at the back here, making sure no one pushes up aggressively. Surreal in Palace, but you can see them starting to set up for this push. There are 3 players of SKADE on the site right now. You have to be so careful with this nade coming on in. It should make it obvious that the commit is going to start to come, and they are watching these entrances. Endpoint, they just throw the nades and bugger right off. They are heading over towards this B side. I was going to question, are they going mid? Are they looking to try and catch from a different angle? No, they are committing towards this B site right now. They're going to start walking. You can see right in the back there, Rainwaker is going to be a big difference maker. Alongside Denny Slaw, these 2 players are going to be the key players. That is a good molly. And Rainwaker does actually manage to take down Flames, and Oxygen picks off Surreal, who was the last remaining player on that A site. The rotates start to come on in as it's 3 versus 3, and a great nade there from Robin gives a lot of information as Endpoint get down that bomb, and now the onus is really on SKADE to make these plays, and pushing into SMGs, that's a hard ask. They've got an AK, and they will be able to make something happen as they take down Mighty Max, and they trade out Crucial. Goes down. It's only Robin remaining. If there's a man that I would ask to clutch it out, it is, however, him. He's not quite able to do it. Spellin gets those couple of kills, and, well, SKADE, after a great start from Endpoint, as they rushed onto the site, off of the back of the AK that they picked up off of Surreal, are able to take that round and even the score out to 1-1. Yeah. So, we had a great round from Flames to start things off, and then Endpoint coming into the second round, looking a little bit lackluster, honestly. That should have been a round they really were picking up, and they are even going to force back up to try and contest it. They know that won't be too much in the hands of SKADE right now, and they really want to go for it. They want to contest. They want to deal with this buy and really nip it in the bud, because obviously taking that economy away from the CT side is brutal. If with this investment of an AWP for Spellin as well, and Rainwaker also going down to $50, Endpoint really could break their backs, but it's going to be off Mighty Max and Crucial that they're really going to make these plays. They lose Crucial and they lose Surreal early on, and again, Endpoint needed to be making those picks with those rifles, and they've already lost one of them. SKADE very much in a great position right now. They just have to sit back and play defensively. Minute on the clock, and, well, I think Flames knows that he's not in a great position. While the AWP isn't watching him anymore, the AWP is a major part of this. It's going to be hard to properly push on into this. You can see Mighty Max peeking out towards that position. No one checks him. As I said before, SKADE know that they don't have to do this, that they don't have to make that play. Mighty Max takes a bit of damage, does manage to take out Rainwaker. With Oxygen going down, Denisaur is going to have to be the one to clean this up. Finds a 2K, takes a lot of damage, but doesn't quite finish off this final player. Flames is out in the open, though, and might get caught out here if he's not okay. Spellin turns away at the last second, but flips over to that Deagle and flips Flames right onto the pile of dead bodies that SKADE seem to be amassing early on here. A brilliant opportunity for SKADE there, and Endpoint all inning to make that gamble, to try and take SKADE off the map. It didn't work out, and they didn't even take much damage away. I think they got 2 kills there, and you're just able to buy back up. SKADE don't have a huge amount of money now. If they lose this round, I don't think they can quite buy up unless they get a lot of kills. But the fact that they're on the CT side makes things so easy for them. They're just waiting for Endpoint to push on in here. And because, obviously, they don't have any rifles, things are going to be very difficult for them. They take down one, but Flames picked off at long range there. Robin isn't even able to pick up that rifle. I think he is trying to head for it now, but you can see that the rest of SKADE are just trying to make those plays and finish him off without exposing themselves to too much. This is auto-directed, yes. I'm sorry that it's spoiling. Also, that's not true. We literally saw there that it flicked away from the person who is, and I'm sorry for spoiling things when we're trying to watch the game, but hey. Anyway, SKADE, off to a good start, but Endpoint now back on these rifle rounds, gonna have to make the plays. Crucial takes out Oxygen as he tries to regress, but Rainwaker managing to stay alive for so long and baiting out Flames into that line of fire is pretty solid. Surreal in a very awkward position here. Denisaur manages to make it out, but SKADE with 3 players, again on the CT side, means that they are going to struggle to defend as much. They really got to hold quite far back. They don't have as many people to reinforce, whereas Endpoint can push all 3 of those players into one, well, SKADE-shaped hole. Robin going down now makes it on this site a 2 versus 2, and, well, Duplicate, he doesn't care about any of that. He's going to pick up that kill, and SKADE continuing to take some pretty solid rounds. SKADE right now on a very strong CT side, taking a lot away from Endpoint. Been struggling to really turn these kills into rounds and just been getting refragged in every single situation. Robin trying to make the hero play there, but their team takes way more damage than they really bargained for. Crucial finally taken off that map, but Mighty Max manages to take down one, as Surreal is picked off as well. Playing these long ranges so hard with these pistols. Sure, the Deagles can find those headshots, but you don't have the power that, for example, a rifle or an AWP are really able to have there. So SKADE really just flexing that, and as you pick up Mighty Max there, Oxygen even falling back, doesn't go aggressive for Flames and walk into the Deagle sightline. SKADE know that they just have to play sensibly, play reserved. As I say that, they push right on up into Flames, and, well, they're punished accordingly. They're going to be able to finally take him, as Spellin does get that shot, but again, they're not losing this AWP. Spellin still has 9.5k in the bank right now. He has died once this game. He has been absolutely off on one right now. Good work so far from some members of Endpoint, especially Flames, player who last time I saw him struggling on that defensive side. But as we can see here, fantastic offense right now. T-side really seems to sit well with him. He is 8 kills. His name right now. Trying to look for some more of that information, but not quite making this go. Got it for the most part. Just playing sensible angles, not pushing too hard. So they're continuing to contest across the map. And as we said, they're just playing passively, not overextending. Endpoint are the ones who are going to have to make the plays, and I mean, Endpoint are very much aware of that. They know that it has to be them. They're worrying about it. There's no one in the window, especially with that smoke down. Endpoint do now have that mid control. But how are they going to effectively use that? It's real. Showing everyone exactly where he is. He's going to flash it through on there. But Endpoint moving up towards that B site. They get the first pick. Rainmaker is down, and Flames is the one to open it up. Fantastic to see him doing a great job here. And they're going to keep on pushing in. Denny Slot taken right off the map. The SKADE now, you can see the rotate coming in from Duplicate, but the only remaining player left on the map, sorry, on the site in Oxygen, is taken off the board. And SKADE, I think this is really sensible from them. Not pushing too far, not overextending, knowing that if you make a couple of mistakes on this CT side, you can really just lose so many in a row, because again, going back to that economy, it can be so brutal. SKADE, knowing their limits, knowing the Endpoint have pretty much locked this round out, didn't drop a single player on that execute, and just leaving them to their own devices. They don't want to contest them anymore. Again, fantastic stuff from Flames. Great execute early on onto that site, and that's the entry. Able to find those good shots. SKADE, obviously, going to be able to buy right back up. Bellin no longer sitting on that mad stack of cash that we were seeing from him before, but still hasn't gone down. The rest of his team feeling pretty comfortable for the most part. Oxygen and Rainwaker not got the most money in the world, but SKADE still on their defense, still able to really be the ones to force Endpoint to move on in here. Mighty Max goes low and does finally go down, but with Crucial finding that one. SKADE are down to 2 players as well. And what looked like a fantastic play, at least initially there, I think it was from Duplicate, didn't quite end up how they wanted to. That HE doesn't quite land. Rainwaker not going to be forced out of this position. Just on the correct side of that wall, which means Endpoint can't force them out right now. Endpoint moving players over onto this A site. Crucial. He really wants to make sure he doesn't want to get caught out. Nothing of the sort. As all the utility comes on through, so they're going to continue to look for that plant. He's going to jump behind the box. That should be pretty free for him. You can see that Rainwaker looking for an opportunity to try and make here, but Crucial going to need to look to his right. You have to be careful right now. Oxygen on that flank, coming from T-spawn. Already in position. He's looking for it, doesn't spot anyone out. Good positioning right now from Endpoint. I think you actually saw the gun of Crucial there. That might mean he is going to get caught out, but Robin making sure there's no one on that flank. Crucial doesn't quite manage to finish off this player, but with 2 low health members, SKADE, I don't know if they can push up and into here. It's going to be hard. The smoke comes on in. With the molly, doesn't hit enough. They're going for it. He sprays it down. Can see the last player just through the top of that smoke. And that is a fantastic round there for Endpoint to be able to pick on up. And bomb just about doesn't go off as well, so they are going to keep that rifle for Robin. They're able to buy up. Mighty Max has a lot of money as well, as I was going to say. Crucial. Gonna get that up for themselves. All important to be able to have that key part in some of those refrags that we saw. SKADE back down to nothing. And Endpoint started off strong. Great pistol round. All looked good. Flames absolutely popping off. But SKADE struck back, took a load of rounds, and now Endpoint started to find that little bit of footing. And economic footing is, in life and in Counter-Strike, an important thing to be able to have. Be able to stand from and make your fight, make your case in this game. As Endpoint I don't know, man. You don't want to push this A site. There are 5 members of SKADE waiting right here as Robin puts that molly down. We'll get a little bit of information. Damage goes on to Spellin as it just pours on through. He's just going right for it. This is a bit of a mistake here. There's going to be multiple players holding this angle. They're going to lose at least one of these players on Endpoint. Taking a lot of damage. SKADE out with relative ease. Spellin gets the knife onto Robin, but at the cost of the round as Endpoint bringing things ever closer. SKADE now back up in that ability to buy. I think in part, well, it didn't make too much of a difference. Spellin is still going to have to, it would have still had enough money to buy that up, but it's nice to be able to get that little extra cash from the knife as he dives on in. Ooh, doesn't quite hit. Crucial. Getting that leg onto Denny as Denny just flies across that A site. And SKADE still 2 players towards that mid. They really want to try and secure that. Flames jumps out and barely doesn't catch sight of Oxygen, who is going to try and nade that back to keep Flames back in his spot. A good nade will find some damage, but Endpoint still looking to push out on this mid. Able to find the spray and takes Mighty Max out off the board. Oxygen gives away his position, but still manages to swap weapons in time and nails Flames right in the dome. Endpoint down to 3 players, and SKADE looking a lot more comfortable here off of the back of that. 5 players still up. Sure, a lot of damage onto Denny, a lot of damage onto Oxygen, but it doesn't lead to anything. If Rainwaker hears those movements, that's why you're seeing the walk right now. I'm almost certain that a quick rotate will come on in. 3 players from SKADE on this site, so you have to be careful. Surreal is in position. That molly will give everything away. So I'm going to start to push on in. Oxygen, watching the cross, knows that it's going to come on through. Tap fires and takes out Surreal, but doesn't get any damage onto Robin. It will be Denny Slaw who takes that one. 1 player remaining. Crucial with the AWP. Isn't going to even get a single thing. As soon as he drops on in, SKADE drops him down. And Endpoint, after a set of rounds that looked so darn good for them, now taking that loss and on a little bit of a reduced buy. Not going to have as much utility, especially on Crucial here, as you can see. But this is their big kind of all-in. They lose this, SKADE string together another good couple of rounds, and Endpoint are going to struggle to really catch up. This is looking like what could be a very strong CT side right now from the end. But just tries to make that play. Duplicate does go down as the refrag. Max trying to spray on through, but currently just running decoy in that mid area. Max finally finds that kill in mid, and this is looking like everything they needed. Rainwaker does take down Flames, but I don't think he knows exactly where Mighty Max is, and with this, he should be able to push on in, get that bomb down, but Mighty Max finishing off Rainwaker as Oxygen continues to pump out those frags. 2 kills for him, and Mighty Max, on 2 kills himself, is a little bit worried about Oxygen here. Doesn't want to get contested, and Oxygen playing towards the middle of the map as he returns to this A site. Mighty Max right out in the open, and SKADE shut that one down. But that really could have been an Endpoint round, and that could have been a big turning point. Endpoint picking that one up. They would have done a lot of damage to SKADE's economy. Obviously, I think SKADE would have been just about able to buy. But Endpoint, they would have already closed that one out. And they would have put themselves in a position to actually take some solid T rounds in this map. But right now, it's just looking difficult, especially when you run out there a full Praetor Spellin. Yet again, he's absolutely fantastic. The duplicate. Well, he duplicates a spray down that we've seen from him all too often in this map. Flames bursts onto the scene and lights all of SKADE up there. Takes 3 players down, all on their lonesome. SKADE continue to strike back. It's 1 versus 2. Flames, the young hope for this Endpoint side. Could be everything they need. What worries me is that, as we said before, Flames very strong on this T side. But when it comes to that CT half that could be key for Endpoint here, he struggles to... He's very non-existent sometimes. It really does depend. Hopefully he'll be able to show us some of this masterful play when he does move over to defense, but right now, SKADE are just having things on lock, not overextending. They know they don't need to. They might have to be careful, though. Flames actually went straight over the side. I'm surprised to see this. I thought that SKADE would have been rotating over. Careful, yes, but a little bit too hesitant. Spellin going to peek out. He's going to check for Flames. You could see with that AWP, he's watching the angle. Doesn't want to let Flames pop his head up at all. Flames just gets away with it. This man is absolute monster right now. It's 1 versus 1. He's looking for the ace. He takes a lot of damage. That goes down to 44. Flames versus Oxygen. A tale as old as time right now. He's looking for the frag. He gets it with an ace there. As Flames just absolutely consumes the entirety of SKADE. As he will not give up without a fight. Able to pick up a round that, as I was saying, is so key for Endpoint here. They're even going to be able to full buy up here and match the AWP in Spellin. That is fantastic stuff from Endpoint there. To be able to pick that up, and not just Endpoint, specifically Flames, who really is showing up here. Endpoint find that frag. As again, Flames leading the charge. Right on those front lines, as Crucial is just able to take Rainwalker right off the board. Denislaw gets a massive 3k with the FAMAS there, and everything that looked so good for Endpoint completely thwarted by Denislaw. As Oxygen continuing to try and play at those long ranges. Doesn't know where the bomb is. Doesn't know that Endpoint don't have the bomb there. But with rifles abound, both of these teams are really going to be contesting each other. Robin has to take a shot. He does, in fact, do it. Denislaw goes down. The terror in the earlier part of this game, well, in the earlier part of this round, is finally shut down. It's going to be Oxygen again in that 1vx situation. Last man aliving for SKADE right now. Max showing his body, but that gives him away, and that will allow Robin to take Oxygen out. Endpoint starting to catch up right now. I was worried. I honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. 0-4, Endpoint didn't look strong coming into this, and against a team that's 3-1 towards the top side of this table, things look dire. And especially after not being able to convert that pistol round into anything else, SKADE looked like they might just run away with this game, but Endpoint do not give up. Off of the back of their new talent, are able to force SKADE into an untenable situation. They are saving up for this final round. This should be Endpoint just cleaning this one out. Flames is the sacrificial lamb this time round, but Endpoint just clean that one up. As SKADE finally matched in their scorelines. The first time since it was 1-1 in round 2. Endpoint are just looking real darn good right now. And interesting here, I'd like to note that the AWP is on Denislaw rather than on Spellin, who we've seen it from the rest of this match so far. Denny doesn't have any armor. This is maybe the reasoning behind it. Doesn't have the money for it. Denny hits the shot and, well, starting to make his money back with that AWP. Robin into position. Trying to spray through that smoke, but you can see they just about managed to escape. SKADE not overextending right now. Crucial looking for the shot, does manage to land it with Robin going down. It's Crucial who manages to land the shot again. See them come on through smokes. Gonna be able to grab that bomb. I tail it out of there. Surreal alive for now, but you can see 2 members of Endpoint so darn low and easy for Oxygen just to pick off there. SKADE expecting the rotate now. You can see that Denislaw already in position. Flames in the mid area. He's looking to come back and contest this. Denislaw back in jungle here. As you can see him just going for that rotate. Endpoint, they're going for an execute potentially onto A here. You can see that Crucial is waiting. And I think by spending this time, they really are baiting out SKADE. Oxygen, he doesn't know where he needs to be. That's why you're also seeing back in kitchen Denislaw not too far committing to one site. He wants to be able to rotate as soon as he possibly can. 25 seconds on the clock, and Endpoint, they're fully on into this site. Smoke comes on through, flash as well. It's crucial. As that flash comes on in, gonna be able to get the plant down, backs off. You can see Oxygen is waiting in CT. Flames is looking for the rotate, expecting the rotate. Through jungle here, but it's Oxygen taking Crucial off the board. And you know now, Flames, he has to start rotating in. He doesn't know where Denny Slaw is. Denny pops on out and opens right up to him. Flash comes on through. They're right on top of the smoke. The bomb is there. They're looking for the defuse. Oxygen doesn't know he can go for it, but ow! Flames! Swaps to a nade at the worst possible timing and hands the round over to SKADE there, as they do lock that one out and take an advantage going into their T-half. We're going to go to a short break. Do not go anywhere, because this game is looking like a doozy. Teams going back and forth. Should be a good one. Everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be getting right back on into this. And, well, Endpoint, not exactly the situation they wanted to be in. But, so far, a solid half from SKADE, and showing why they are towards the top of this ranking in this tournament. Just making sure everyone can actually see the game. I've been known to mess up on that one, but right now, Endpoint have very little room to mess up themselves. Flames, absolutely fantastic performance in map 1. Just going to show you it for a second again. Oh, it doesn't show anything. Forgot that the MDL servers don't do that. Flames starting off with some good pistoling, but unfortunately, no, he does manage to take Duplicate off. Auto Observer decided that we weren't legally allowed to see that. But Surreal, we saw his head get taken right off. Spellin holds strong, takes down Mighty Max, but as much as Flames able to get that 3k in that round, wasn't able to deal with two players at once and gets taken down. SKADE off to a great start for themselves, as that was a 4k for Spellin there on that pistol. Similar to what we saw from Flames in game 1. There you go, you can see the kills on your screen right now. 23 kills for Flames. He is having a fantastic game right now. While we have this time, I was told it was SKADE. I would have said SKADE, but again, that's also just my Britishness showing through, because it's like, as we said, scale. Scale? Sorry, that is a mess up and a half. SKADE, very strong right now across the board. This is what I was really wanting to focus in on. Every single member of this team can frag out. It depends, varies game to game, who actually does, but it doesn't feel like when you look at some teams, especially in this division, sometimes you have that really stand-up player, and especially in some games where like someone just absolutely pops off and needs to consistently pop off to be that big player. SKADE don't really look like that. They have people who just consistently put up those numbers, and that's why everyone on this team right now is very close in terms of kills, apart from Duplicate, who's not having such a great game today. SKADE, as a whole, looking like a cohesive unit, as we're saying. Not overextending too much for the most part. Not dropping rounds where they really shouldn't be. He's a huge part of that, and that molly, absolutely fantastic there from Denny Slaw. He did the whole job, sprayed it on down, and able to take Mighty Max off the board right away there. Effective usage of that utility, is able to pick them up Flames as well. Denny Slaw just playing from these different angles, being a sort of gun-toting libero for the team, catching off guard again. Robin trying to contest towards the mid and just not knowing that they're just getting chewed out at every single opportunity. Crucial down to 8 HP and not for long. SKADE convert their win off of the pistol, and continuing to keep that tempo up right now. Endpoint with some solid performances in individual rounds, but apart from Flames, he's been struggling to match up to SKADE's tempo and to deal with the pressure that they've been putting on them. Alan takes Robin off the board right away, and sure, Denny Slaw takes some damage. This utility coming on in. You have to know as Endpoint, you just can't contest this. Surreal goes down to next to no HP, and SKADE delete multiple players off the map. Only 2 remaining, and Again, into pistols, this was kind of expected, but SKADE just, they do not give you an opportunity right now. Endpoint struggling to pick up a round so far in this CT half of theirs. Surreal finds a frag, but with 18 HP to his name and only a deagle, as much as it's very possible, it's highly implausible. Spellin is going to be covering his angle. Actually finds a way at an awkward time, but I don't think Surreal was expecting someone to be on top of that pole, and as a result, he does go down. SKADE continuing to run away with this match right now. Endpoint now on their first buy of their CT half. This, well, it's not needed to be if they're winning this. It's still a possibility of a massive comeback, but realistically, this has to be a good round for them. This has to be a strong round, and this AWP for Crucial really has to deal some damage. We've seen him do it before. We can see him doing it again. But Endpoint gonna have to hit their shots, catch these players off guard. SKADE playing well around utility and playing well around themselves. It's a huge part of this right now. Robin retreating back away. As you can see, SKADE still putting up a very divided front. I'm expecting the bomb to go towards B, but realistically it could go anywhere. SKADE can invest wherever they damn well please. They're going to meet the guns of Endpoint, and there's not a lot of utility left if you look across the board. Flashes come on in. As Endpoint trying to check for some of that information, see if anyone's in apartments. SKADE, they're over towards that A site. You can see 3 players from Endpoint already on it as they are about to get surrounded and picked apart. Rainmaker does manage to go down, but Oxygen just moving on out, trades himself out as Denisaur aggresses onto that CT position and takes the AWPer of Crucial right away from Endpoint. You could see these 2 rifles in Endpoint starting to move up. They want to contest. They want to make the plays. But Robin and Flames, can they even make this? They have no way to effectively entry. No utility at all, and honestly, I do think it's more sensible just to save these rifles. You can see that's exactly what they're doing. And SKADE pick up yet another round. Endpoint struggling to pick up these W's that they need. 0-4 right now, but showing some moxie that they could potentially return to form. With Flames, that player who was that big unknown for this team, didn't know how he was going to perform, especially after that Vertigo map where I said before, defensive side, not great for him. He hasn't really done too much so far in this half either. Endpoint are looking to try and grasp what was making them great before, made them able to consistently show up. And as I think people were saying before, able to take down SKADE on multiple occasions. This might not be the day, but it certainly heralds some good rounds with Endpoint able to pick up some of these frags like absolutely no one's business. 4 rifles on the board for Endpoint. Surreal? Well, he's always been comfortable with that deagle. But against 4 AKs and AWP, what do you do if you're Endpoint here? You just have to play it passive. You try not to take too long a light sight lines, because you know Spellin is really going to be contesting those. You want to go for some of those spray downs. You've got the M4s. You have to use them in a way that's more useful than the AK. Because otherwise, SKADE are just going to be able to get you every single time. Endpoint have eaten away the SKADE time bank. But it's going to be interesting to see as they try and move on in. Smokes starting to play. 30 seconds on the clock, and you can see Endpoint looking for that information. They can't see anything around B, The rotate's going to come on in soon because SKADE are just about to rock on through. That smoke is massive, but so is this spray. A lot of damage coming on through, and that molly does manage to allow them to pick up Rainwaker here. Spellin shot off the board too, but Oxygen takes down Surreal and forces out another with that molly, looking to pick up that bomb where they can. They only have 3 seconds left on the clock. It's just not happening, especially as Flames just flicks on over. And Endpoint pick up their first round in this half. Believe it. Oh, did I press escape? I did press escape. Whoops. 5 rounds into their CT half. Endpoint finally pick up their first. It wasn't even the full buy. This wasn't even their big opportunity that we were talking about before, but they still managed to turn it around. That save from the round before. Critical in leading to this round win. They could bring so many more rifles and honestly made that big try because they had that save from the previous round. Finally being able to make it work. Endpoint feeling a little bit relaxed. They don't want to let anything go, but they're chill. They're making these aggressive plays. They're feeling comfortable. They're starting to do something a little bit interesting. You can see both Surreal and Max already in that backfield, in that T site. They know exactly where this is going to be coming, but unfortunately, Flames picked off right away. Robin holds strong, takes down Duplicate, and doesn't quite fall to the aggression of Rainwaker until just now. That bought some time. Flash goes on through, but Spellin still trying to put that pressure on. Denny Slaw almost does manage to deal with Surreal on that A site. However, SKADE have control of this B1. Not a lot of health left across the board from SKADE, but they have the players. They have a 2-player advantage over this Endpoint side. Mighty Max. He's going to have to do some fragging of his own, but he has given his position away. Oxygen is going to be watching and waiting. In fact, does exactly that. Rainwaker cuts off Crucial as soon as he goes for that shot into Spellin, but SKADE damaging Endpoint's economy wherever they can. You can see Endpoint. They've got 3k in the bank on some of these players. They don't want to go for this. They don't want to invest on this. They might pick up a couple of pistols, as you're going to say, but the next round, that is the one. Well, it's their final chance, really, to not make things go to overtime, but I think, honestly, at this point, Endpoint would be very happy with overtime if they could get there. Be sure that I'm watching the right thing. Spellin already got that mid control. Robin, with a good nade there, does get some information and some damage off onto Denny Salt. They're looking to do as much as they can as the HE, again, lands onto Denny Salt, but doesn't quite finish him off. And with that molly, cutting off control of jungle there. Of that window. SKADE is committed towards this B site. Could be exactly what they need, but Endpoint looking to catch players off guard. Both just waiting in that position. I'm interested to see SKADE looking like they're actually going to go for this. This is interesting. They know there are players there, but they're just absolutely going for it. Getting Slaw on 24 HP does manage to get that AWP. That'll be one for Robin, but look, Flames is waiting right there. They managed to distract, and that is a good frag from Robin. As now, it's only a couple left, but Oxygen harassing some of the remaining Endpoint members. And with A site controlled, the rotate's going to come on in. Rainwaker does not want to push up on their own. But if he gets caught out here, no, it's Mighty Max who goes down. And Surreal just isn't close enough. He has to rotate to make this play, to try and catch someone, anyone, from the SKADE side. Bring it down to a 1 versus 2. They didn't even get the rifles off of this opportunity. And that just allows SKADE to shut it down. A lot of damage dealt by Endpoint. But with the money in the bank of SKADE, it's not going to be enough to really do any damage. Final full buy for Endpoint. This is do or die time. 2 AWPs coming out. One's in Flames' hands. Well, he hasn't been so great in this half. Interested to see how he plays on this AWP. Going to move up into position. Checking for this push. Comes on through, and that is a free frag for the boy Flames as the Incendiary drops on down, and so does Crucial as that smoke from Spellin provides the cover as he knows exactly where they are. HE going to come on through to try and get some information. He's trying for the cheeky shots, but Flames doesn't quite find it yet. Endpoint 4 versus 4. This is the round. This has to be their opportunity. And with the rotate coming out from SKADE, Endpoint need to make their move now. They do not know it's coming. They've got a couple of players. They suspect something. Whether these two players on that site, one, not even fully focused on it, are able to shut down this push, it's another matter entirely. Endpoint still looking to try and contest this. Mighty Max needs to rotate as soon as the word go is heard. Spellum peeks on it, looks towards, takes down Surreal, and is looking towards jungle already. Molly comes on in, and he is cut off. Mighty Max and Robin headed towards that CT side, with Flames pushing up in the rear. But it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. 4 versus 3, and with a spray like that, Rainwaker, you cannot get away with those! Only Flames remaining. He has the M4 in hand. 1 versus 3. Looking for that ace. He's got one already in this map. Can he do it again? Spellin taking these long angles. Not wanting to mess around. They know that Flames can take this. If he's given the opportunity, Flames catches Rainwaker. Rainwaker not so conscious anymore. So Flash comes on in. Flames doesn't even spot out the player on ramp. He's going to be able to take him. He's baiting the defuse. He knows that he has to stack it, but unfortunately Spellum was waiting for that opportunity. SKADE take the round, even with a stellar performance there from Flames. Endpoint don't pick it up, and this is now match point. SKADE looking to close this out in short order. Almost doubling Endpoint's points right now. Rainwaker with those shots through the smoke, man. You cannot let him get away with that. And as they take Robin off the board right away, this spray, the barrage of guns, one remaining player in Flames. And look, he's done it before. I was excited for the last time, but he's looking the wrong way. He's not going to be able to get them here. He is being caught out by these remaining players. It's just a takedown Rainwaker as they just are not watching him. Down there, I think he's caught sight of Danny. Slaw goes down as well. SKADE might be able to do this. 1 versus 1. Spellin almost gets the shot there as Flames. He is absolutely on fire right now, and he will not give up without a fight. Endpoint. 1 versus 1. 31 HP on Flames, but Spellin knows now there's no player in jungle. He can't see him. He can't catch him. Bomb's down in mid. I don't know if he knows this. I don't know if Flames is aware. I think he is. He's rotated back. He's going to catch Spellin here. That is absolutely fantastic. Endpoint in the clutch. Flames, that man is always there. 33 kills right now. Mirage is his map. And I think, honestly, SKADE feel like they have heat stroke. This is not what they expected to be. Losing that round against that ramshackle buy. Endpoint, they're just going right back at it. They have to. They have no other choice. Whether these plays are going to be successful, though, is another matter. Spellin down a little bit early due to a nade, but SKADE taking mid control, looking to play from there. I think SKADE right now are like, yo, if we take out Flames, this game's over. This map's over. Everything's okay, but they cannot count Endpoint out until Flames has croaked. To me, I don't think Flames is a fat lady who can sing, so I think we're all good on that point if you're an Endpoint fan. Comeback could be real. Comeback Israel right now for this young Israeli star. Endpoint certainly not giving up without a fight. SKADE, flashes come on through. Robin trades himself back and forth. But Endpoint, they're going to have to deal with this. The push comes on in. Rainwaker takes down one more with the back up. Denny still goes down, but it's 3 versus 3, and without Flames, I don't know if Endpoint can do this. Spellin is low, sure. But you look at the weapons on Endpoint's side. They are not so effective at pushing on it, especially Surreal here. Mighty Max has to be the player to make it. He has this AK. He has the power in his hands. You can see they're just going for it. They need to just go. Lose out on one. Trying to find this kill. Crucial. Almost finds another, but he goes down. Mighty Max 1 versus 2. 2 HP on Spellin. 1 HP on Oxygen. They're so darn low right now, and Mighty Max is not able to find it. SKADE with 3 health remaining over 2 players. Take that W. Take the round. Take the map.